Hello everyone. So welcome to today's session. So today we are talking about file handling in Python. Okay, so let's get started. So file handling in Python. So there is a structure how you open file, read file and close file. So the pattern is in Python, whenever you open a file, you have to close it. Okay, so generally, when you open a file, you close it. So similarly, in Python, we open a file and we close it. So let's see in detail about file handling and what are those steps, how to properly work with files in Python. Okay, so what's the use of file handling in Python? So file handling, it allows you to read and write data to files stored on your system. It's a crucial for data analysis, log processing, web scraping, and many other automation tasks. Okay, so uh, Python has inbuilt functions such as open. So one of them is open function. So one of them is read function and write and close. So these are the inbuilt functions that Python has, using which we will work with Python file handling operations. Okay, so let's move one by one. So there are file modes. So what are the file modes? So the basic file modes we have is R. This is called read mode, and write. W. This is called write mode, and A. This is called append mode. So these are the basic file modes we have. So R, read mode, will read the file. Write mode will overwrite the existing file contents. And append will append the new line to the existing file content. Okay. So this is how, these are the basic modes we have. So we'll see other modes also. So let's see in Python, how do we read a file? We use open built-in function. So we say open and we give the file name that we want to read and we say R. So that means we are reading that file. So this built-in function, this is the syntax, is used to open the file in read mode. So we are opening the file in read mode. Then we are reading the content. So next thing, once we open the file, we'll read the contents of the file. So what are the inbuilt functions we have to read the contents of the file? We have a read function, we have a read line, and we have read lines. So there is a difference how each of this work, we'll see in detail and further. Next, we have close. So once we read the file, we have to close it to free up the system resources. Okay. So these are the steps to read the file. Now let's see what are the steps to write to a file. So similarly, the same steps as we read the file, we open the file in write mode. So that means we are overwriting the existing file. So anything that existing file has, it will delete it. So if there is no existing file, it will create a new file. So that is what W, the write mode, will do. It will overwrite the file or it will create the new file if it does not exist. Then we write it to the data file and then we'll close it. So similar operations we perform, just the difference is how we access in the read modes and the write modes. And then we can, once we open the file, we have three options: either read it or write it. So when we read it, we have three options using read function, read line and read lines. And when we are writing to a file, we have just one option, that is write inbuilt function. Okay, so let's move ahead. So this is the pattern that we follow. Open the file, either read or write, then close it. Okay. So what happens if you do not close the file? So there are the certain problems that you may face. memory leaks can occur, or other programs may not be able to access the file, and there may be pending data that might not have been written yet, and it will lead to data corruption. Okay, so write let's write a sample data to example.txt. Okay, so let's write a file. So our file is written. Okay, so how do I know where my file is written? So where is my Python Jupyter notebook? My Jupyter notebook is here in this location. So this is my Jupyter notebook located at. So here we can see 12 seconds ago, just now, my example.txt created. So here the same location where our notebook resides, or where our .py file resides, by default, the file will be created there. If you want to create the file in some other location, you can specify the full file path location here. C users something, so on and so forth. Okay, next. So you can perform this exercise. Create a practice.txt file and write 3 lines into it and read line by line all of those contents from the file. Okay, so let's move ahead and see the inbuilt functions of uh, reading the contents of the file. So we have discussed, right? There are 3 ways to read the file. So one is using read. So what does read do? It reads the entire contents of the file. So I have hello world in my example.txt. It reads the entire content. So let me add one more line. Hello world 1, hello world 2. Okay, so let me save this text file and move to my program. And if I run my program, so it here you can see it reads the entire contents of the file. Now, when it comes to read line, it just reads one line at a time. Okay, so let me just run this program. So it reads just the first line of my contents of my file. Now, let's say I want to read multiple lines using read line. So how do I do it? I can say I'll open my file with open. So we'll see. This is the alternate way to open the file. We'll discuss in a few moments. So I'm reading my line 1 and line 2 here and here. And I'm printing it finally the both the lines. So hello world 1. Similarly, so we have another inbuilt function to read the contents of the file, that is read lines. So what does read lines does is it reads all the lines into a list. So how many lines do we have? So we have almost 3 lines. So it reads each of those lines into a list. And you can notice it brought the escape sequence character also. So in Python or any other programming language, we'll have escape sequence characters. So /n means new line. So uh, /u means Unicode character. /s means space. So these are the Unicode characters. So even that is captured here in the list. Okay. So now let's move forward. So again, further in the read line function, we have some sub functions that we can use if you want to, extract only a word from a particular line, or if you want to strip new line character. So if you're working with large files, this will help you save your memory also if you're using read line. So here you can notice we used in the print statement while using read line function, inbuilt function, we use line one dot strip. So what it does is it just stripped the new line characters. So if I do not use it, so here is my program. So I didn't use dot strip here. The same program here, I did not use strip. So what it does is it brings new line character spaces. So here you can see in the output there is no new line uh, you can notice. So here in this output you can notice there is a new lines after each of these sentences. So that is one thing. Using strip, you can remove new line characters. And you can also use dot split. So it will split by words or by characters. So let's say, for example, uh, have this program. So example.txt, we are reading this example.txt and we are reading a file. And inside this file, I'm just saying, just bring me first word. So it will just bring me first word. So I can use the index. So if I say one, it will bring me the second index, that is world. So that is how I can use split to read whatever I just wanted, not all the contents. So these are the inbuilt function, that is split and strip. We can also use slicing to extract specific parts. So we have already learned about slicing in list, strings, and tuples. So we can also apply conditional logic. For example, if this text is hello, then only print, otherwise do not print it. We can use for loops to loop through uh, each of the line, and we can combine these functions like starts with, ends with, and find. So let's say, for example, I want to see whether whether in example.txt is there any line that starts with e. No, there is no line that starts with e. So is there any line that starts with h? Yes, there are three lines that starts with h. So this is how we can uh, check these conditions further. So any line ends with, or we can find the string inside our file contents. So next we have with statement. So notice in the above program, so what we said, we'll open the file, we'll write the contents, and we'll close it. Okay. So now we are going to see with statement. So what does with statement does is it makes all these complexities easier for you. So it takes care of automatically closing the file when you open the file with statement. Okay. So also it does not it will not raise an error if the file does not exist. For example, so let me read a file that does not exist uh, with a normal statements. File equal to open example1.txt in read mode. Then what I'll say, file dot read and file dot close. Okay, so these are the operations I will do. Unterminated literal string. Okay, so let me check it here. Okay, so I have to use this print statement. Mm, okay, so I did not give the string here. Okay, so let me go ahead and use my program. So you can see when I'm running example.txt, I'm able to get the result. Let's say I'm opening a file or reading a file that does not exist. So when I run it, here you can see, notice the error. File not found error. So error number two, no such file or directory exists. Example one.txt. So what with statement does is, like for example, let's say uh, I write the same program. I write the same program with statement. So let me run this. Uh, R. I'll say f dot read. Okay. So this is my okay. So I'm reading example.txt using with statement. So here you notice uh, when compared to this, when compared to this program, so here we have to open, read, and close. So here we are just opening and reading it. We are not closing it. So with statements automatically takes care of closing the file. We don't have to worry about that. So here, what I'm doing, let me call example1.txt, which does not exist. So if I run this program, it says no file or directory exists. So even if it is erroring out, so what we are saying, this is an efficient way to run our programs. So using with statement instead of manually accessing or writing each of the statements separately. So if there is a file that does not exist, we'll see how to handle those errors using try and catch. Okay, so now let me write let me write line 1 and line 2 to example.txt. So what W will do, it will overwrite the example.txt. So now my file will be overwritten, all the hello worlds will be deleted, and my file will have now line 1 and line 2 only. Okay. Okay. So we already seen what is write mode and append mode. So let me append one line to my example.txt. So what I'm saying, append line. So this statement will be appended this to my file. So if I run it, I can see now I have three lines. So since I used A, that is append mode, and again I read my file, so I could see that line 1, line 2, and append line is inserted in my file. Okay, so next I have binary files, working with binary files. So binary files are those files that are non-text files such as image, video, PDF, etc. So to access those files, we'll use RB, or to write those files, we use WB. Okay, so it's always recommended to use with statement use by when you're using binary files so that they are closed properly, because we already discussed with statement automatically takes care of closing the file. So I'm writing a file wb example.bin, which I cannot read it. Actually I cannot open .bin file or read it, but here I can write it and read it through Python. So you can see I wrote these contents and I could read it here. Okay. So next, I want to make sure before writing my file, I want to make sure whether that file exists or not. Okay. So for that, I can import an OS module. So it's a built-in Python module. If I import this module, I will be able to check whether my file exists or not. For example, I have this file example txt.com. So where is it? It's in the same folder where my Python notebook is located. So this is my example.txt. Okay. So so let me go ahead and run this program. So it says file exists. So let me say example1 and run this program. Now it says example1 file does not exist. So by default, when we give os.path.exists, it takes the same path where your this particular notebook exists. So it takes the path of this notebook, and in that folder, so that is my beginner folder here. In this beginner folder, I have this Python notebook, and in the same beginner folder, I will have this my text file. So it this command will search in the same folder by default, but we have option to check files in some other folder. So if we want to check files in some other folder, how do we do it? So I have to mention complete path. So this is the complete path. So let's say I have a sample.txt in some other folder, so I want to check it whether that exists or not. So I will do an import os here and run it, and it errors out. So you notice what is the error here? Unicode error. Unicode escape codec can't decode bytes in position. So we are receiving this error because of this character. So here, when our Python program is coming here at this place, so what's it's recognizing it as, oh, this is a Unicode character. This is not a string. This is not the file location. So it's not recognizing this complete string as file location. When the program is coming here, it's recognizing this as an escape sequence character. So to handle these kind of issues while reading the complete location in the while reading the files from other locations when we are giving complete path, so what I can say, there are three ways to fix this. So I can use backslash. So instead of single backslash, I can say double backslashes at every folder location that I move forward. So here, here, here till here. So that way we can avoid this error. Now Python will properly recognize my file path. Now if I run this, so it says file exists. There are two other ways to handle this error. So one more way is using R, raw string. So it's a recommended way to read the complete paths of the file location. So what I say, just I'll keep my complete string as it is, and just below the string I'll append R here. So if I do that, it will not error out. Okay, so here I have to remove this. So if I do that, it will not error out. Okay, so I'll remove it so that you can find that error. So you can mimic the same, you can create some other file in one of the location and give try to give the complete path and see, try to execute and see, uh, it will error out. And here is the fixes. You can fix it in these three ways. So this is the second way, using a raw string. You just give R, that means it will recognize this complete string as a raw string. It will not consider slash u as Unicode character. Now there is one more way. Instead of backward slashes, we can give forward slashes. So if we give forward slash, then it will not error out. So because Unicode characters are not written in forward slashes, so even it will work. Okay. So these are the ways you can tackle these issues. Now let's create a simple log reader and read that log that has been generated. So in real time, there are several logs will be generated in server logs. Whatever server you see, everywhere in the system, everywhere logs will be generated. So if you want to write those logs, you can write it to a file and read it using Python. So let me write a sample log here using this command, and I'll read it. Okay, so I'm writing a log. Now I'll read that log.txt. Okay. And I want to read line by line. So this is my comprehension, list comprehension. So what I'm saying, line. So I want to read line for line in F. So in this, I want to read if error in line. So only if there is an error keyword, bring that particular list. So what does list comprehension do? It will segregate each line into a list item. So this will be one list item, this will be another list item, and this will be another list item. So we are reading this particular list item and getting back that result. Now let's see how do we work with CSV files. So CSV is a comma separated files. It's a common format. It is used to store tabular data. So Python also provides CSV module. So you can import that CSV module and work with CSV files. Okay. So we have imported the CSV module here. This is CSV module. Now we are writing a CSV file with open students.csv. So this will create my CSV file, and in CSV file uh, I have to define uh, columns. So I have to segregate columns with new line or some other character. So I can declare new line or slash or whatever. So I have to declare that particular uh, separator. So this will be my separator. So this will avoid blanks in the output. So what I'm doing, um, using open open students.csv write as CSV file, I'm using a writer. So this is the writer function inbuilt method. So I have CSV.writer. So I have to use CSV.writer to read the CSV file into a variable writer. Then what I'm saying, writer dot write row. So I have to write each row at a time. So if I'm doing manually, so first row I'm declaring this as a headers. Then I will write row row one and row two. So if I execute this, now if I want to read those CSV file, I have to open the file and use csv.reader to read the CSV file. Since we have two rows, I cannot read the file directly. I have to use for loop. So using for loop, I can read the file because it reads line by line. So here I can see the file, CSV file, we can read it as a list. So where is my CSV file here? If I go back to my Python, where my Python notebook is stored, I can see this is my CSV file. This is how it looks like. Name, age, grade. So this is being read as a list. Okay. So what are the best practices for file handling? Always use with statement to manage files because it automatically takes care of closing the file. Use absolute paths when needed for clarity instead of relative paths. So we have two types of path, relative paths and absolute paths. We'll see in further sessions what is the relative path. Absolute path is you mention your complete path, C drive slash another drive, so on so and example.com. So that is our absolute path. And one more thing is handle exceptions. So if file doesn't exist, so we have to handle those exceptions. So let's see, for example, uh, I non-existent.txt. So I have this file which does not exist and it will by default raise file not found error. So I want to handle that error so that my program does not exit. Uh, so I have my program will exit gracefully, does not error out. So if I run this, so instead of giving an error, it says file not found. So if I, let's say if I do not use try and except block, so what it does is it raises an error and it terminates my program. So here, when we use this try and except block, is it does not raise these kind of errors. So what we are doing, we are capturing this error type here in except block, file not found error, and just we are printing it, printing the statement that file is not found, please check the file name. So to avoid programs erroring out, we will use try and except block. Okay. So Uh, okay, so one more best practice is use binary mode for non-text files. So if you are reading images, videos, PDF files, use non-binary mode like RB, RW, RW to write, RB to read, and process large files in chunks to save memory. So if you want to process large files, generally this is not the best method to process large files. There are some other frameworks like PySpark and other all those. They are uh, very good for processing large files. But if you require to process large files in Python, use chunk your large files so that you can process it properly and save your memory. Avoid hard coding file paths or file names. So if possible, avoid hard coding. Take the file names from by giving variable or declare the variables in such a way that automatically it takes the file paths or file names. Okay. Now, to quickly recap, so we have seen read only mode. So file read only R is read mode. So by default, if it raises an error, if you do not catch that exception or if file does not exist. So we have write only mode. It overwrites our data in the existing file. It creates a new file. If it does not exist, then we have append mode. So append will write at the end of the line, and it also creates a new file if the file does not exist. Then we have X. So X, this will create a write only fail if the file exists. Um so it will create a new file and it fails if the file already exists. Okay, so we are saying just create the file and write to that file. Create and write to that file. But if file already exists, it will error. But when it comes to W, if the file already exists, it will not error out. If it will recreate the file and rewrite the contents. And we have R plus read and write. Okay, and W plus read and write truncate file to zero length, and append A plus append and read pointer at the end of the write. So you can go through these here. We can go through this here at the end of these binary modes. After the binary modes, we'll see. So here the list of binary modes we have. So RB is read-only binary mode. WB read-only binary override. Append binary. Create binary files. So it fails if the binary file already exists. RB plus read and write binary. WB plus read and write and read binary and truncate it. AB plus append and read binary. So let's see these. Okay, so read only mode. So first we are writing the file. Then let's say we want to read the file. Let's read our file using read mode. So with open example.txt read mode, using read mode we are reading the file. So next let's create another file. Okay, so let's create another file, example underscore w.txt. Okay, so it will create new file, and so let me read this file once again. So this is new file. Now writing new content. So whenever you use W, it will create new file or overwrites the contents. Now A, when you use A, it will append. So let me append the text to example.txt.com, example.txt. So when I append, I can read my file to confirm whether I have appended the text or not. Here you can see we have successfully appended. Okay, so next we have X. So this will try to create. So what this will do is this will create a new file and just write the contents. So let's say I already have example.txt.com. So if I give the same example.txt.com, if I try to create, it says file already exists. So what I have to do, I have to say write underscore X. So that means it will create the new file. So same, I can read that file. Okay, let me move towards up. Mm, let me move this towards up. Okay, so same, I can read this file now, whatever the file I have written. I can read this file using read mode. So what I say, example underscore x dot txt. So you can see new file created. Okay, so same way, uh, R plus. So what we are saying, read and write, no truncation. So what it does is, so let's see. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm creating a new file and writing the initial content, then reading the content and printing what is the before content and updating what is. Uh, so I'm writing an updated content. So let me run this program. Okay, so my initial content, this got printed. So this is the before content. Now let me verify after content. So when I wrote initial content, then I wrote one more line that called update content. So you can see this update content is not printed here. So let me read this file once again. Now this initial content, it is updated. I can see update content also. So let me go to this file and see how does it look like. R plus. So you can see our original content is replaced with updated content. So here, that is what R plus means. So read and write at the same time. Okay, so now next we have uh, W plus, write and read. So what we are saying is write and read along with the truncate. So when I do this, so let me read it. So let me read my file. Okay, so first what I said, overwrite and read. Next, I have the same content, overwrite and read. So let me go and check my file here. Overwrite and read. So it did not. Um, okay, so it updated my uh, file. So it overwritten my file and also it read my file. So both things at a time we can do. Okay. So similarly, you can go through this binary example. So it's binary, and we say WB, so we can we can write and read the data. Binary data, I have written it and I'm reading it. Okay, so far, that's it for file handling. So, just to recap, we have file modes. We have to open the file, read the file, and close the file. When you open the file, write the file, close the file. You can read, so read in three ways: read lines, and read line and read lines. And again, in read line we have certain methods. You can process text using like you can strip it, you can split the text, or you can escape new line characters. Then we have with statement. So with statement automatically takes care of closing the file. And you can do file handling, so you can also append to the files. And you have two types of file reading: one is normal file reading, and one is binary file reading. And we have also seen how to write a CSV file and how to read a CSV file. So that's it for today. We'll meet next time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.